made serious strides as a country on M-Pesa front, we are still lagging behind on this innovative, and very complex, dynamic financial assets and virtual assets. And this is very important for us as a country to start reflecting. Another reflection, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to put very closely is on this management of our monetary policy, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you will know that in October, the central bank passed their CBK rate at 12. But you're not seeing a corresponding element in our commercial banks. Our commercial banks are still lending at very crazy interest rates that do not still allow businesses to be able to, borrow from these commercial banks. I would want to see innovation, Mr. Speaker, in terms of the management of central bank, whereby even something like the CBR can be used as a formula in terms of the requirement of how the commercial banks end up lending people money. Because, Mr. Speaker, we have seen a serious crowding out effect, given that we are still having a proper problem in terms of our debt management crisis in the country, where the government is still forced by circumstances to still borrow more domestically. Then there needs to be an incentive from a monetary policy perspective, Mr. Speaker, that can be able to enable more businesses access credit. Because it's only when the business access credit that the country can move forward, we can make more taxes by having a bigger tax base, by more businesses, creating a framework for them to access money and do better businesses, Mr. Speaker. The last thing that I wanted to say, Mr. Speaker, is that while there is importance to look at what is happening at the central bank, Mr. Speaker, it's also very important for us as a house, because now I've gotten this opportunity. This is what I wanted to talk about in my previous opportunity, that we as a house must be able to work really, really hard in the next 2 days. Because in the next 2 days, if you don't figure out CARA, particularly, Mr. Speaker, and the disbursement schedule, Mr. Speaker, our counties are going to suffer massively. Because as the Chair of Finance and Budget will tell you, Mr. Speaker, currently we are only depending on the advisory of the Attorney General for counties to access money using, regulation number 134 of the PFM, which says that in the event that we have got this problem, then counties can access up to 50% of previously allocated resources. Now, that window is going to close in this December. So, Mr. Speaker, I don't want to bore you much with a lot of conversation about this nominee, because I second and I hope that the House will approve this. But I wanted to urge fellow senators, on behalf of the Finance Committee, on behalf of my very hardworking chair, my very hardworking vice chair, that the next 2 days, there is temptation to actually, perhaps some members want to leave early to start making their way to Mombasa for Yala. But I wanted to urge the entire House that there's a complexity in passing this particular bill, because this is not ordinary. We are not going to pass it with the normal 24 mark of the delegation that we always do. This requires that we must have 2/3 of the House to be able to actually adopt a memorandum by the President. So it will be very important that tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, hopefully that we can be able to have this bill moved today by the Chair of Finance and Budget. But for tomorrow and Thursday, let members try as much as possible to be in the House so that our counties don't lack money. And Mr. Speaker, you know that we are sending this House for only one thing: to protect counties. The biggest case for protecting counties are actually passing mainly those two bills, the DORA and CARA. And of course, also goes with the disbursement schedule, Mr. Speaker. So this is what I wanted to urge the House to focus on, even as they approve this nominee. I want to urge the House to focus so much on making sure that our counties will not start January without money and will not start January struggling to get their portion of the exchequer releases.